Imagine you are an ancient human walking through a forest. There are no supermarkets, no food labels, no doctors nearby, no internet search saying, "Do not eat this berry." You are hungry, tired, and surrounded by plants, fruits, roots, mushrooms, insects, and strange-looking leaves. Some of them could save your life. Others could end it. The problem is, they looked almost the same. So here is the big question. How did ancient humans know what was poisonous? Did they just guess? Did one unlucky person eat the wrong berry, fall down, and everyone else said, "Okay, don't eat that one"? Well, sometimes yes. But the real answer is much smarter, slower, and more interesting than that. Ancient humans did not survive because they randomly ate everything they saw. They survived because they became experts at watching, remembering, testing, and passing knowledge from one generation to the next. The first warning system was the body itself. Human senses were not just for enjoying food. They were survival tools. A sweet smell could suggest ripe fruit. A rotten smell could warn of decay. A burning taste could tell the mouth, "Something is wrong here." And bitterness was especially important. Many poisonous plants contain bitter compounds, so ancient humans learned to treat strong bitterness with caution. That does not mean every bitter plant was deadly. And it also does not mean every poison tasted bitter. Some dangerous things could look harmless. But for a hungry person in the wild, bitterness was like nature's warning sign. Not a perfect warning sign, but better than nothing. Ancient humans also watched animals. If birds ate a certain fruit again and again, humans might become curious. If monkeys avoided a plant completely, that plant might become suspicious. If an animal ate something and later became weak, sick, or died, people would remember. But even this method was dangerous, because animals are not humans. A bird can eat some fruits that would harm us. A goat can chew plants that might make a human very sick. So ancient humans could not simply say, "The animal ate it, so it is safe." Animal behavior was only one clue. The next clue came from pattern recognition. Ancient humans lived close to nature every day. They knew which plants appeared after rain, which fruits ripened in certain seasons, which mushrooms grew near dead wood, which leaves caused itching, which roots made the mouth numb, which seeds made people vomit. Over time, they built a mental map of danger. A child growing up in an ancient group did not need to discover every poison alone. The adults already knew. They would point at a plant and say, "Not that one." They would teach which berries were food, which ones were medicine, and which ones were forbidden. In many communities, this knowledge became part of stories, warnings, rituals, and traditions. A poisonous plant was not just a plant. It became the plant that killed someone's uncle, the mushroom that makes people see strange things, the root that must never be eaten raw, the seed that only becomes safe after boiling. That is how knowledge survived. Not in books, but in memory. And memory could be just as powerful. But here is where it gets even more interesting. Ancient humans did not only learn what to avoid, they also learned how to make dangerous foods safe. Some plants are not simply food or poison. They are both. It depends on how you prepare them. Take cassava, for example. In many parts of the world, cassava became an important food. But some types contain compounds that can release cyanide if the plant is eaten raw or badly prepared. That sounds terrifying. But people learned that peeling, soaking, grating, fermenting, drying, and cooking could reduce the danger. That is not random guessing. That is food technology. Ancient people were not wearing lab coats, but they were doing experiments across generations. They noticed that a root made people sick when eaten raw. But when it was soaked and cooked, people survived. Then they repeated it, again and again, until the safe method became tradition. The same idea happened with other foods too. Some acorns are bitter because they contain tannins, but if they are crushed and soaked in water, the bitterness can be reduced. Some beans and seeds are harmful when raw, but safer after boiling. Some plants become edible only after removing the outer coat. So ancient humans were not just asking, "Is this poisonous?" They were asking a deeper question. Can this become food? That question changed human history. Because it meant dangerous landscapes became more useful. A forest full of suspicious plants could slowly become a pantry. A poisonous root could become dinner. A bitter seed could become survival food during drought. A plant that animals ignored could become valuable if humans discovered the right process. But of course, this knowledge came at a cost. Some people must have suffered. Some people probably died. A group might test a small amount of a new plant and wait. They might try it cooked instead of raw. They might give it to animals first. They might observe what happened after touching the skin, smelling it, chewing it, or swallowing only a tiny piece. But the ancient world had no guaranteed safety. Every mistake mattered, and that is why memory was so important. One person's bad experience could protect the whole group. A child did not have to eat the deadly berry if the grandmother already knew the story. A young hunter did not have to chew the wrong root if the elders had warned him. Survival was not just individual intelligence. It was community intelligence. Ancient humans also learned that poison depends on quantity. A small amount of something might be medicine. A larger amount might be deadly. A plant used carefully could reduce pain. Used wrongly, it could stop breathing. This is why some ancient healers became respected figures. They understood the thin line between cure and poison. They knew which plants to use, how much to use, and who should avoid them. To us, that may sound mysterious, but to them, it was practical knowledge, built from observation, passed down through teaching, protected by tradition. There is another thing ancient humans learned: poison could hide. Not all dangerous food looks scary. A beautiful berry can be deadly. A normal-looking mushroom can be dangerous. A clear shellfish from the sea can carry toxins. A plant may be safe in one season and harmful in another. A root may be safe after cooking, but dangerous raw. So ancient humans could not rely only on appearance. They needed memory, timing, location, smell, taste, preparation, and social knowledge. That is why foraging was never just walking around and picking food. It was a skill. A serious skill. The best foragers were like living libraries. They knew the land in a way most modern people cannot imagine. They could look at a plant and know its season. They could smell when something was wrong. They could recognize a safe fruit tree from far away. They could tell children which leaves to touch and which ones to avoid. And this knowledge did not appear overnight. It took thousands of years. So when we ask, how did ancient humans know what was poisonous? The answer is not one method. It was many methods working together. Taste, smell, observation, animal behavior. Small experiments, painful mistakes, careful preparation, stories, elders, tradition, and thousands of years of trial and memory. Ancient humans were not lucky. They were learning machines. Every forest, every river, every mountain, every season taught them something. And the groups that remembered the lessons survived. The groups that forgot them paid the price. So, the next time you see a warning label on food, medicine, or chemicals, remember this. Ancient humans had warnings too. But their warning labels were not printed on bottles. They were carried in stories. In scars. In recipes. In taboos. In the voice of an elder saying, "Do not eat that." And sometimes, that simple sentence was the difference between life and death.